LinkedIn? How do you go for your interview, the confidence? And finally, today is the last one. There we have Madhura. Hi.
Hello everyone.
Suganya, you're on mute, sorry.
Okay. Hello everyone. Good evening. Requesting everyone to settle down. And you can utilize the chat session to let us know where you are from, what you're doing, and what brings you here. Okay, Kalpana is from Vizag. Got Krunali from Pune. Okay, many are from Bangalore. I can see Hyderabad, Lucknow. Okay, we have our returnees too. Welcome everyone. Before we begin the session, let us go through some points which will help us make the most of this session. Let us know that you are here by participating in the polls, and you may wish to take down a few notes. So please keep a pen and paper handy. We all are joining virtually, so kindly bear with us in case of any connectivity issues. And kindly keep yourself on mute unless we ask you to unmute yourself. As this is a Q&A session, we request you to post your questions in the chat box once we begin, and stay till the end to get all your questions answered. And also keep an eye on the chat section where we will share the link to receive your Check for a certificate. I request Check team to launch a poll. So requesting everyone to answer the poll. So I can see at least 80 members have voted the poll. We'll give a few more seconds before we close the poll. Yeah. The ones who joined recently, kindly vote the poll. We will close the poll in few seconds. Okay, Gayatri, you can see the poll. It has been launched already. You can go to the more option and you can see the poll. Okay. So more than 70% have voted the poll. So can we close the poll, Risha? Yeah. So we got the results. So we have 45% of return to work community members and 14% emerging profession. And we have 8% tech forer. And we have 71% tech people and 29% non-tech. So we have 66% who didn't apply for any jobs till now. Yeah. So we are thrilled to invite you to an exclusive Ask Me Anything session with our HR leaders of the industry. Whether you are a newcomer seeking guidance on career development, return to work women who have a unique set of challenges and questions, or working professionals, this session is tailor-made for you. Our HR experts are here to provide insights, address your concerns, and offer valuable advice to ensure your success and navigate your journey into the workforce. This AMA session serves as a platform for you to connect directly with our HR experts who are equipped with a wealth of knowledge and expertise to assist you in various aspects of your professional development. So we have Ruchita madam here, who will take us through the Aspire for an introduction.
Hi, I think before Ruchita comes in, I'd just like to say a few words and a very warm welcome to Reena and Soma. I think I can see both of them here. Reena has, of course, been a fantastic mentor at Aspire for Her. She runs a lot of our fantastic campaigns around digital marathon and anything else that we request her to. Soma and I go back a really long way, and it is fantastic to see her on our platform. Thank you so much for making the time, Soma. Both of you have really, really wealth of knowledge is what Sugana was saying, and I was like sort of reflecting on that wealth of knowledge, and they will help you navigate any confidence gaps that you have in your journey towards applying for a role, getting into that interview, and finally emerging with flying colors. So remember, it's a long journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there is Ruchita as well. So, but thank you so much, Reena and Soma, for being here. We truly, truly appreciate all the support that you give for Aspire for Her.
Absolutely delighted to be
Madhura.
here. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good evening,
Madhura.
everyone. My apologies. I had just moved up for something. I think Soma as well as Reena have been mentors at Aspire for Her, and the community knows them very well. it couldn't have been a better session without both of them over here. We started job readiness because we also are doing a lot of digital learning. We have job fairs which are coming up. And we have also realized that it is not just your technical knowledge, but there are a lot of skill sets that you need along with the technical knowledge that will help you with the job. Today is the last of the session. It's been a beautiful month. Nevertheless, I'm sure most of our participants today have got their CVs all updated. They have I would say, Jing Bang LinkedIn profile so that everybody can go and have a look at it. The confidence to appear for the interview. But what is normally missing, and which most of the women, the students who do not get to see, is what is it that it is in terms of a recruiter, the kind of questions that they'll be facing, the kind of answers that they need to look at, because this they see it only on the day they go for the interview. And hence, this is one of the sessions which most of the people are really awaiting for. And Soma, thank you so much for joining in. Reena, thank you so much. And I know both of you have been earlier on Aspire for Her, but we are really happy and delighted and welcome you once again. With that, over to you, Suganya.
Before we start the session, let me introduce them. So we have Reena Ravi here. She is a mentor at Aspire for Her, where she supports the organization to reach out to colleges and universities for various skill development programs, and also mentors women who aspire to grow in their careers. So she has 25 plus years of cross-functional leadership, career straddling strategy planning, and execution and managing large PLNs across BFSI, media and entertainment, and also IT services. So she has deep domain expertise in HR consulting, learning and development, D&I, CSR, operations management, community outreach, and organization culture transformation. She is passionate about people development, inclusivity, and corporate social responsibility. So she is a speaker at various thought leadership sessions and seminars on HR, D&I, and CSR at various industry and academic forums across the globe. In a previous role, she was the head of CSR and diversity and inclusion at Infosys BPM. So we also have Soma Pandey, who is the VP, Head of Talent Management. She is part of Cognizant's HR leadership team as head of Talent Management. In this role, she sets the strategy and directions for many Cognizant's global people practices, including performance management, succession planning, senior leadership development, and associate engagement. With experience working for organizations like Accenture, Randstad, Mestec, and ITC Limited, Soma brings deep HR expertise to a role at Cognizant. Prior joining to Cognizant in November, Soma was Chief Human Resources Officer for First Source Solution, an Indian process management company. With a career spanning 25 years, Soma has experience leading businesses through culture transformations, business divestment, and acquisition. She is accomplished at envisioning and executing large-scale changes in people practices. She is passionate about diversity and inclusion, wellness, and humanizing work systems to help employees live fuller lives. So Soma holds a postgraduate diploma in personal management and industrial relationship from XLRI in India. And I take the honor of introducing both of them to you. So with this, I request everyone to post your questions in the chat box and our experts will be answering them. Okay, we have a question. So what kind of job roles can non-tech profiles with career break can apply for? This question is from Sunita.
Do
Shall
you
I?
want me to start? Okay, go ahead, Soma.
All right. I see two questions there. One is what job roles can a non-tech profile apply for? And the other one is what are the chances of a candidate getting back into industry after 10 years? And is it a good idea for a non-tech person to start tech? Let me start by telling you the latest theory around, right? That careers as we have known them traditionally as being that you start in a particular profession in one company and then you stay in the same profession, but you move to a different company and keep growing. That is not how careers are going to work out today. And going forward, with so much change that's happening, both in terms of technology, in terms of business models, in terms of how work gets done, you should expect that you will have 3 to 4 different careers, not 3 to 4 different jobs, but 3 to 4 different careers over your time span of working. So first thing, do not think about career break. Do not think about, am I eligible? What are the chances of success? You do your best, you go and apply. Now, where should you apply? Obviously, if you have a certain passion and a certain education and qualification, and if both of them are in the same area, that is the best thing for you to do. But if you have qualification which you feel is no longer relevant, and that would typically be in a non-tech role, I think then you can think of other avenues where you have the passion to learn. You will have to develop some skills in some form or manner to align with the job that you want to apply for. But I don't think you should what is it called? Shortlist yourself first only out and say, I don't think I will make it, or I don't think this is the right job. Don't do that. Let the hiring people, the recruiters tell you that you're not suitable, or you apply, and then you can work for that. I'll stop here. Tons more to add on that, but I'll let Reena add her thoughts and we can elaborate further.
I agree with you, Soma. I think like what you said, it's about having different careers, right? So like, for example, the first question where you're saying, can non-tech profiles with career break, where can you apply? I think allow the recruiters, to choose you. So there are any non-tech roles which are there. It could be in HR, it could be in sales and marketing, it could be any other role which is there. It could be in finance. I think depending on what your previous work experience was, qualification was, and what you think probably is your passion and where you want to apply for that particular role, how well you do in that interview is whether you get selected for that particular role. So there are a lot of options which are there, and you'll have to just go forward and look at what you want to do.
Yeah, and I was looking at the statistics, right, that very few people have actually started applying. A large proportion have not applied. I mean,
Correct.
you have to apply. So you have to start somewhere. Think of it as a funnel, right? You put in a lot at the top, only then a few things will come out of this funnel, which is the job interview process. First, you will apply, you may not even qualify in the shortlisting. Second time, you will improve your resume, you will research the role, you will make sure your resume has the same keywords as the job profile that they have published. Then you may qualify for first round, but you may have to drop out again. Maybe something will keep happening, but unless you apply for many jobs and get that practice of interviewing and moving to next level, the job will not fall in your lap. There are tons of opportunities, but you have to make the first step. First step is write your resume, start looking at jobs, start applying. I think that's what I would leave you with. Optimism is extremely important. Chances are you will find something interesting, but you have to brush up your skills and you have to make an effort. And the success will be proportional to how much effort you're making.
We have a similar question from Nimita. It's how prominent is ageism in IT industry? Is there any hope for someone with a 10-year break to re-enter the workforce fighting against this bias?
I am from the IT industry, and I hear this often, that there is a lot of talk and we are kind of not setting the right example for older people, and the average age of companies is reducing with a lot of intake of freshers. But there are completely new fields coming out. For example, AI, right? Generative AI especially, which is all the talk nowadays. So if you can develop skills in an area where skills are less in the industry and not many people know it. So, you are then at the same level as somebody else because nobody has learned that before. They are all starting afresh. So your maturity level may actually play a good role in helping you grow faster. A, you are mature, and B, you have the hunger to come back and to prove yourself, right? So I think Think about those fields which are more new, which are fresh, where the talent is less, where companies are posting jobs, but not enough people are applying. Then you can have a better chance if you can learn that skill. And once again, I said, thinking about what all can go wrong is a self-defeating thing. Don't do that. You try. What is the worst that will happen? You will not get through. Maybe you will learn something from it. You can try harder or better or smarter next time. But don't first step should not be, oh, should I even try? Will there be discrimination? Go in and find out. Maybe you can change the tide, right? So I would leave you with a lot of optimism. There's tons of work out there for good people, and you have to pick up what excites you.
Yeah, I think I agree with Soma, but I think just to add to what Soma is saying also, currently, I think with the current, I mean, thanks to COVID, and I think gig working also has started even in India, right? So for a lot of you, probably you can also start, looking at, smaller projects, smaller, temporary projects which you can pick up. And that's the place probably you might also brush up your skills as well. And then get into probably full-time regular kind of work. And yeah, you will have to keep your mind open and, apply, keep applying for the jobs. Like you apply probably for 10, 15, 20, 50, probably, you'll be shortlisted for 2 or 3 of them. And there are plenty of opportunities. I'm sure, as Soma also will say, and I mean, I agree that if you look at the number of opportunities which are available today, and getting the right people is what is difficult for HR at this point of time. So you will have to kind of brush up your skills, and that's very important.
And this is a very important question, and I hope everyone will look forward to this. How to negotiate when it comes to salary? It's from Dr. Sangeeta.
Ashina, I'll let you go first this time.
Okay. I mean, I think interesting question. It depends on, whether you're on a career, you're coming back after a career break, or whether you're, you're already working and you want to move to your next role. And this is especially for women. I think we don't negotiate at all when it comes to salaries. And that's the reason why in most of the organizations, sometimes you find that, difference in terms of, men and women in their terms of salaries. So the, organizations try and ensure that they have a band minimum and things like that. So I think it's very important for you, you understand what level that you're going into, whether it's a middle management role, whether it's a senior level role, and accordingly, you'll have to, whatever that percentage that you want to keep, and depending on your skill sets as well. If you're convinced about yourself and you're convinced that you can get that level of salary, you should ask for it. Obviously, the organization will tell you whether they can afford you or they cannot afford you. So I think that's important for you to kind of, peg yourself at whatever maximum level that you think you are eligible for. You should do that.
Yeah. I just want to reinforce 2 of the things that you said, Reena, that can you negotiate? Yes. How do you negotiate? You negotiate with conviction. Conviction means I have a belief that I deserve this kind of salary. And that belief should come from the value you are going to add to the job. Now, there are different types of companies. If you're going to a very large professional company, which is well set up, they will typically have bands. And therefore, the amount you can negotiate will be less. The chances are that they will do a fair fitment because they are also wanting to be very careful about fairness and discrimination and not having too many wide bands within their framework. So you can assume that you will get a fair deal, but there is no harm in asking. I think one tip I would say is don't negotiate with the person you're going to report to. I would typically negotiate with the recruiter or HR because it's their job to do that. Second thing is, don't be shy about asking for what you believe in, because it's not like they will give you whatever you ask for, and it will be a win-win in the end, right? So they will, if they cannot afford you, they will tell you that this is the best we can do. And if you have built that trusting relationship with the recruiter, you will know that whether they're telling you the full truth or not, and then you can accept, or you can say, oh no, sorry, it's too little, I can move on. So you should know what your threshold is, that if they give below this, I will not take no matter what happens, and then stick with that. And the final thing I would like to say is, don't be afraid to walk away. If you have gone to a negotiation stage, means you can crack another job. So rather than joining at a low level of salary, which is not making you happy, and having to do a role with that thing in your heart that, oh, I think I deserve more, maybe my peer is getting more, maybe I could have pushed harder. Don't do that to yourself. Then you might as well just wait, reset your level, and wait for the next job. Because once you get into a company, then you cannot negotiate. That is something you should be careful of. So if you are very unhappy with the salary, make sure you negotiate at the time of entering. If it is a smaller company, you can probably negotiate harder. If it's a bigger company, probably they will not be able to negotiate that much, because they are hiring in thousands of people. I'm talking out of my experience. But yeah, those would be the things to do. But remember, as women, most of you are women on this call, we typically are shy of it. So get over that. Talk to people. I think networking is a very, very important thing, especially when you're coming back after a break. Go back and talk to your ex-colleagues, your friends. Get a sense of what kind of roles you would be suitable for and how much they typically pay, so that you're not going in blindsided.
Yeah, those
I
are
think
very
I see a connected question over here in the chat from Nandana saying, for an intern, can we negotiate a big amount of salary? I think typically interns are, freshers from college. So you need to understand, again, it depends on the organization. If it's a large organization, they have a fixed salary for interns. So you can't go ahead and negotiate, because they would have fixed that amount for interns typically. And if it is probably a small size organization, probably that is where you can, look at if some negotiation that you can do.
And
Because
also understand why are you doing the internship, right? If it's your first step in, even if they're giving you zero money, I think it's an investment. They're giving you learning. So look at what you're getting out of the job. You're getting experience, you're getting learning, and you're getting money, right? If money is less, but learning and experience is way more, and that is very valuable for you because you are coming back into a corporate after a break, then take that. So you have to make that balance in your head. What they call it, the total rewards concept, right? What all am I getting from this job? I'm getting to go out of my house, or I'm getting to have something to write on LinkedIn. It's a foot in the door for me to come back. All those things are all part of the compensation, right? It's not money, but it is part of your compensation. So what all are you getting, and is it worth it fighting for the salary? That is what you should weigh in your head, and have that maturity to decide how you want to then go ahead.
those are valuable insights from you. This is a very tough question. We don't get answered often. So thanks a lot, Reena and Soma, for this. And we have another question from Vicky. What skills should I add to get back to work for 6 years in HR? I was an HR generalist before I took the break. So what are the skills to be upskilled in terms of HR, in the field of HR?
Yeah, I have a 6 years gap in my career as well, and I am in HR, as you heard from the introduction. So I think as HR professionals, we are lucky that human beings don't change drastically over time. So those elements of how you think about human beings in terms of fairness, in terms of recognition, in terms of well-being, those principles have not changed. Different companies may be using different technology. So you should have some idea of what are the different HR tools in play, how is recruitment happening these days. You can read up articles on, just Google it, you will find. You can ask ChatGPT actually to give it a prompt to say, what are the best practices in HR in this particular industry in the last 2-3 years. It'll give you some reading material so you can brush up those skills. But I think in HR, we are very lucky that when we come back, you don't have to tick off many skills, because typically when you join a company, they will train you in the tools that they use, because they may be different from other companies in any case. So it depends on your role, but I think you have a very good chance of being able to find yourself back. Because of the maturity in the number of years you have gained. And when you were away from work, you were obviously doing something else. And that also adds to you as a human being, as a sensitive person, as an empathetic person, as a person who can lead other people. So think of the value you have added to yourself, even though you were not in corporate, and how that can add to your job.
And to add to that, I think I'm sure while you're away also, you've kept yourself updated, right? Keep yourself updated, keep reading. What are those? Probably HR, we do the same kind of work. Terminologies probably, or the jargons that we use is quite different, right? It's not that wellness and things were not there earlier in HR. Probably over the last 3 years or 4 years, you hear, wellness, you hear a lot of other new words. So just keep those jargons in place. I'm sure you would have played that role as a HR generalist, even when you worked 6 years back or 10 years back. So just update yourself so that you can, you know that you're aware of those jargons when you're facing the interview. That's just one more point which you can keep in mind.
Okay. So this is from a fresher, like how to start a journey for freshers. Like, what is the road path for a fresher to get into a job?
Yeah, I think the same thing which we said in the first question, right? What is your passion? What do you want to do? I feel good that today India also offers so many different opportunities. There are so many different types of startups, smaller companies who are doing very, very different types of work. So what is it that gets you excited? Do some research on that, build up your skills on that, and then apply for them. I think how to start your journey is by application. You have to apply somewhere. Before that, you have to write your resume, and you've had sessions in the past from Aspire for Her on how to write your resume. So you can go watch those recordings maybe. But research is important. Talking to people is important, and then writing your resume in a way that it matches the skill requirements of the job you're applying for is important. And then when you get in, you can decide whether you like it or not.
And I think if you're still in college, right, you have campus hiring. So any number of campus interviews, whichever organizations come to, please apply for them. Don't leave anything till you get selected in case you're still in college.
Yeah, very good point. And I would also add, don't be fixed in your mindset. That, this is what I want to do. And by 12 years of experience, I want to be the CEO of the company. You may be brilliant and it may happen to you. And I wish you all the best if that's what you want. But life has a tendency of happening and things will come in the way. And if you're too rigid and too fixed, you would only cause yourself mental stress and harm. And therefore, I would really ask you to be open-minded and flexible. In the long term, things will even out. You will get what you desire. If you keep accepting challenges that come to you, if your company asks you to do something that you had not thought as part of your career aspiration, still do it if it feels like it's important for the company. I'm not asking you to be naive or be taken for a ride, but be flexible. Don't set too hard a goal in your head, which will cause you only stress. So when you're starting off and you're coming back after a break, just be a little bit more flexible and not very rigid.
Okay, so we got an interesting question.
Hello. Hello. Can I speak?
Yeah.
Megha, yes, go ahead.
Yes. So, ma'am, my question was like, what are the skill sets required to work under the HR department of any company, or journey is also was like a kind of a link to it.
Do you have HR experience or qualification?
No, ma'am, I'm a fresher.
Okay. Yeah, so typically companies will look for some kind of an HR qualification. They will typically hire, if you have a master's in HR or at least a BBA or something like that, which sets you up for knowing the basics of HR. Typically people who get transferred into HR from non-HR are internal folks who have experience in the business or in the operations or something. Then we know that, okay, they know how this company works, they understand the HR policies of this company, so then we can bring them onto the HR side. But as a fresher, you should have some kind of a qualification for HR. If not specifically MBA, then at least if you have studied psychology, that would help you to have a good conversation during your interview. Apart from that, I think HR people, one looks for a very good communication. We look for very good ethics in terms of ability to deal with data very wisely, not share information that should not be shared. So that integrity and ethics is very, very, very important. Communication is very important. Clarity of thought, problem solving, all that, those things will come into play because you will be faced with many conversations with employees and you have to clarify to them different things. So your ability to articulate and solve for the problem is something that people will look for. So there are, I'm sure you can Google this, you will get very good answers as well.
Not from a person as you all, like raw, I get the raw answers. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Oh my
Hello.
God.
So here my name is Shivani Bhatt, and I have the gap from 10 to 12. When I was in 10th, I was suffering from seizure actually. So I took the gap for at least 4 years, and then I have done my 12th. Then after there is no gap in between. Then after that I was a brilliant student for in 10th also 12th also I've received good grades, but because I was suffering from seizure, that is epilepsy, so I took the gap in between. So it is possible to have the job right now in data scientist role.
Theoretically, I think yes. If you're asking me about in my company, I can't give you a direct answer, but short answer is yes. I think corporate India is way more open now to people who have special needs or who have taken breaks for special reasons. You will find that the close-mindedness or that rule-based hiring has become less. So chances are that you will find something meaningful, and data scientists everybody needs all the time. So I think you have a good skill set. I wish you all the very best. I think when you're sending your resume for a job, unless they ask you for your date of birth or the year of graduation, you don't need to mention that in your resume. You can mention I mean, many of you are techies, so you know how we do search engine optimization. So use keywords which are mentioned in their job profile or the job description, which are mentioned in the company's website, so that the algorithm picks up your resume. Once you're in the door, and then you can have the conversation around what is your age and why you took a gap and all of that. But I'm not suggesting that you put any wrong facts into it. I'm just saying if it is not asked for, don't mention the dates. You can tell the dates very, very truthfully when you go to the interview. Or if they have asked for, then you can mention the date. And if there is a place where you can put remarks, you can mention why that happened. So don't get stuck with one version of your resume. You should have many versions. Depending on what kind of website there is or what kind of application form they're asking for, you can put information that is relevant. But what you're trying to do is get through the shortlisting hurdle.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think that answers the question of a lot of people have been asking questions. I can see in the chat in terms of, how far a resume is vital in making way to the recruiting cell, right? I mean, like what Soma said, you should have different versions of your resume. It's very important because each company will have different requirements and you'll have to probably change your keywords, what you mentioned in your resume accordingly. And, that would help in the first shortlisting, once you're shortlisted, then comes the interview process and whatever it is. The way you write your resume is also very important.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have been selected in many more companies. Means in at a time I've selected in 20 to 50 companies at a time. But I just took the step back actually just because of my to complete my course actually. So here
So you'll
I
get it
Very
again.
good. You'll get it again. Yeah.
Okay,
Wishing you
thank
all the
ma'am.
best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Requesting everyone to wait since many have posted the questions in chat box. Once we complete the question, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions directly. So we have an interesting question here. So how to deal when there is no response from HR post interview, single or after multiple rounds? Should one follow up or let it go considering no selection?
You should follow up. But follow, I mean, if they send you some response, some automated mail, something, then you can try again. If they send nothing, then you can assume that it's not going to work. But typically you should follow up. There is no harm in feeling shy. Also, I'll give you another this thing. So like I said, I came back after 6 years of a break. So I had 5 years of experience. Then I took a 6 years break because my husband was posted in Germany. So I left India and went there, and I couldn't speak the language. So in HR, it's very difficult to find a role where you can't speak the local language. When I came back, I applied to companies. Now I was desperate for a job. So every day I would be checking my Gmail. Every day I would be getting stressed. Oh my God, they have not responded. But for you, each day is very difficult. But for them, you try to put yourself in the recruiter's shoe. Now, they may have 5-10 different things that they are trying to do in one day. And if this job role is not very critical for the company, then they may say, oh, let me finish this. I will get to it on Thursday. Then maybe they get a cold. So then it becomes the weekend. Then they come back, they forget about the job, they start doing something else. They're only human, right? So even if it's taking 6-10 days, don't feel that you have lost the opportunity. So learn to be a little bit patient and try to think about what might be happening in the organization versus thinking, oh, I've lost it, nothing has happened. And do follow up. I think most recruiters have a personal number and a professional number. On the professional number, you can WhatsApp them. I would not call directly, but email and WhatsApp and those kind of messaging on LinkedIn should be fine.
So with this, I also wanted to ask a question. Like I saw somewhere like we can send the HR person the cold emails, like sending our profile directly, like getting their like through LinkedIn or through email. How much it works actually, whether it works or whether it's appropriate to reach it in that way.
I think today's day and age, nothing is inappropriate. You should sell yourself in every way possible. So yeah, go ahead and send the resume. Now, how effective it is completely dependent on the situation. If that person is hiring for a role, they're finding it hard for the profile, and then your profile pops in and it's a perfect fit, then they will jump on it. But if they have just filled a role, you saw some role on the website, they have not yet closed it out, you think it is still open, so you pop in your resume, but they have filled it, so then they will just ignore it. And because it's a cold call, they may or may not feel the responsibility of replying to you. Because they'll have tens of other things that they have to do. So if people get busy, they may get irritated, but that's a risk worth taking. I think 10% will get irritated, 20% might jump on the opportunity of interviewing you, and balance 70%, it may work out later. So don't hesitate in doing that.
Thank you. And there is a question from Shika. Is current location and marital status or kids really play a role in shortlisting? How clear one must be while sharing the personal details with HR?
Tina, you want to go?
Yeah, so I think on a resume, I think it's okay if you don't put these details. When you actually put the details in terms of your skills and what your skill sets are. That's what is more important, because that's how your resume will get picked up. But when they ask you, during the interview process is where you can share those details. And then it depends. I mean, if you have a location constraint, then you need to outright tell the HR that you have a location constraint. Given that today we have a hybrid model, which is working in a lot of large organizations, if they like your skill sets match, and they're looking for a person, then they will offer you that particular role. So it's not necessary for you to mention all personal details just the essential personal details, but others it's not required to mention in the resume.
Yeah, we have a hangover, I think, of government jobs or army jobs or something, And please, at the end, don't write reference available if asked. I mean, if you want the job, you will have to make it available anyway. So no need to write that.
Yeah. And even all those languages known, which is, people speak, what language you speak, read, write, all that is not required in today's corporate world. So I think just leave all that and focus more on your educational qualification and your skill sets. I think that's what's most important. And if you have some experience, focus on that experience in the resume.
Yeah, unless you are a translator, then you have to write which language.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. My question is Reena, ma'am. Once the interview, I was asked that are you married and have you a kid? Then you can you shift to Pune? I say I'm in Delhi and yeah, of course I will shift within a month, but gives it time. But in last moment they reject my whole process as they told me that your kid is 4 year old and we can't continue with you. We have another candidate. If that situation again came in my life, then what to do? How to react?
Who's this?
Kavita Deshaitan.
Okay. So Kavita, again, it depends on the organization, right? The rejection could not be because probably you had a 4-year-old child. That might not have been the reason why they had rejected your application and they said they have another candidate. The reason could be that probably you couldn't relocate from Bangalore to, Pune or whatever it is, or they found a candidate who had probably a slightly more better skill set than yourself, and that could be the reason. So I don't think that should discourage you at all. You should just go ahead and keep applying for the job. You should tell them very clearly if your location of posting is in I mean, if you can't move out from Delhi, then you need to tell them that I'm looking for jobs in Delhi, and then you can apply for that. So don't one incident where they say that they have found a better candidate should not discourage you, like what I think we've told earlier as well. Keep applying, and today people are very, very open for yeah, if you look at a lot of organizations, I think diversity and inclusion plays a very, very important role. So they are with open hands welcoming women to come back to work, even whether they're they're coming after a 3-year break, 5-year break, 10-year break, that doesn't matter. So keep applying is what I would tell you, Kavita, and wish you all the best.
Yeah, just one thing that has triggered in my mind, that all of us as candidates are worried if there is bias in the company. But I think by that we are bringing bias in our own minds about recruitment and about companies, right? Please believe that just as much you need the job, the company needs people to do the job as well. So it is a give and take thing. And in very few cases, you will find that recruiters are malicious or companies are malicious, or they are just looking for excuses to not hire you. It doesn't help them. So have a positive mind frame. Don't have a bias that, they asked me this question, I answered that answer. That means that's why they have rejected me. Don't attribute that. Ask for feedback. Even that's a good thing. Not many Indians do that. But you can definitely ask that person for feedback. Okay, you found a better candidate, but how were they better? Can you give me some feedback so that I can work on it? If you ask it from a space of, I want to learn what I can do better, you may get feedback. Don't ask like a challenge, like, oh, what do you mean they were better? How it happened and all. So just keep your mind also open that maybe genuinely there was a better candidate. What can I learn from this experience so that I can make my resume better?
Yeah. And we have many questions which is asking like how to answer the weakness question. Weakness and strength questions, right? So how to answer the weakness question in an interview.
Yeah, please don't read articles about that. Genuinely think about what bothers you about yourself and try to answer that question. Because as an interviewer, I can tell you the moment people start answering that, I don't ask that question. But if I have to ask, I can tell when they are answering what somebody else has written in some Google blog or something, so don't do that. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So
Hello,
yeah, Mukal.
As a fresher, which skill do we have to learn, ma'am?
That's a very broad question,
Very
Mupal.
broad.
I don't think it is adequate for this forum. Please research on your own first.
Okay.
Hello,
I
ma'am.
think for most of the freshers, I think when we go to campuses and colleges also, this is a question which typically, people ask, what are the skill sets I require? I think it's basically what you want to do. I think which Soma answered in the beginning as well, right? What is your passion, what you want to do, and what are the skill sets for that particular role? And, you kind of develop those skills and you work on those skills. That is important. It's not that there's a generic skill and if I have that skill, I will get selected for a particular role.
Okay.
Hello, hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead? This is Supriya.
Yeah, Supriya.
Yeah, thank you so much. So actually, I had some question. So I had taken a break after my kid. So I actually shifted to a tier 2 city where we didn't have IT opportunities. So I took a PhD, but I didn't get that support that I was expecting. So recently I've quit it. So I had the two questions in mind, whether I should apply for return to work or it is like a experience, because I have some PhD experience in data science domain. So I was little confused of what I should be doing.
See, again, I'm telling you that resumes are a conversation starter. So don't consider it as like a military ordinance that you have to write something very, very particular. If a job asks for experience, you can say I have experience, but mention in brackets as part of my PhD. If a job doesn't ask for experience, you don't have to mention it. I think use your judgment on where you can put and how you can portray that experience where it will be relevant. There is no hard and fast rule, Supriya.
Okay. So is cover letter really important in nowadays situation?
I think again, we're going back to government jobs and whatever it is. I don't think, I mean, typically most of people who apply for jobs, I mean, when you're sending your resume, you send it on email, right? So as long as you're, you write a proper email and say that, okay, I'm applying for it and you're attaching your resume, I think that is fine. I don't think we have, I hereby, I'm applying for this position and have a cover letter typically for any corporates these days. I don't think that happens.
Yeah. See, one thing you should understand is in large companies, many companies, they are using external firms if they hire large numbers to shortlist resumes. So the crisper you can make, the sharper you can make, the algorithm will pick it up. But if you're applying for a very specific type of role, you have a specific condition because of which you're applying, and that cover letter adds immense value to the recruiter to understand your profile, please go ahead and add a cover letter. But if it is just creating bulk, the recruiter, first thing they'll do is tear it and throw it in the bin, and then they will read your resume because they have no time to go through that. If you're applying for a special return to work program, then you can put a covering letter that, yes, I have a break, I saw this notice in the thing, or I saw this email or this prompt, and therefore I'm applying. Now, covering letter could be, so if you're applying online, please, the email is your covering letter. Don't attach a covering letter. Nobody will read it. So in the email body is your covering letter. What are the key points you want to call out, which are very important for the recruiter to know? And then you can add your resume. If it is online form, no covering letter. So just use your judgment. Just for sake of putting covering letter and writing some fancy English, nobody cares.
And I think for a lot of people who are returning from break, to work, I'm assuming that you have your network still, right? So you have friends who have continued working while you have been on break. And a lot of organizations, large organizations, ask employees to refer. So please reach out to your network and ask them to refer you, with your skill set. So when they're referring you, then it's your resume. So as long as your resume is right, and then you get shortlisted. So please use your network also a lot in terms of applying for job, and that really helps.
Yeah. So we have a question from a fresher. I selected in campus placement, but still after a year, they didn't give onboarding to join. What we have to do in this situation?
See, most companies will communicate to you. There is a little bit of slowdown. Many companies, companies hire freshers with the intent that business will keep increasing. By the time they need the people, the fresher would have joined, they would have given training, and then they can deploy those people. But if business doesn't come as much, then they will have to slow down the onboarding. So if they have hired 100 people, they may not bring all 100 together. They may offer first 20, then 20 after 2 months, and so on and so forth. As long as you keep hearing from the company about what is happening, and most companies are good at doing that, they will send you some kind of email. Please trust that process. And nowadays, social media, immediately if company does something wrong, they will come in the limelight for bad things. So nobody wants to do it. So there must be a clear reason why they are doing it. Watch for their communication. But you have to protect your interest. If you have other options coming, which will get you hired immediately, then you can definitely explore that. You are not bound by it, just like they are not bound by it. So unless you have joined a company, feel free to apply to other opportunities if they come.
Absolutely. And like I know whoever asked that question said a gap of 1 year, right? So utilize that. I mean, for 1 year, what were you doing also? So if you find an opportunity, go ahead and, join the other company or don't, or at least develop your skills,
Do
during
an
that
online
period.
course.
Yeah. So do some online courses and things. Don't waste the time 1 year just saying that I'm just waiting for them to, come back to you.
And we have so many questions on the same thing, like how to transition from a non-tech role to tech role. How to put it
Learn
in
the
put
skill.
it in the resume. Yeah.
Learn the
I
skill.
think most of you are part of this, right? Tech for Her or whatever it is, whether it's your AWS courses, whether there are so many online courses or, offline courses. Keep learning the skill. And depending on where you want to move, right? Which tech, this one that you want to move, build on your skills and then apply for those roles.
So how to mention it in the resume, because the experience will not be relevant, right? So how to mention this experience in the resume if they are asking, for example, data analytics or data science, but our experience is in a different domain. So how to mention it in a resume?
Yeah, so typically they'll ask for total experience and relevant experience. So you'll have to designate it accordingly. And obviously, because you are changing career tracks, you should expect that you will start as a fresher. You can't expect that to then start as a director or something else. So you have to tone down your expectations and then apply accordingly and mention it accordingly.
So we have Rishali raised hand. You can go ahead, Rishali. Meanwhile, we will share a link in the chat box. Please fill the form and you will get the certificate.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So my question here is regarding the age. How is age perceived compared to the skills? I am 40 plus. So if I have to go to cloud or some other new technologies, as in data science or something like that, with some certifications, will I be selected to work along with the freshers? I mean, overall, how is age perceived? Can I work at that level at this age?
See, these are very valid concerns, but we've spoken about it in the beginning. Maybe you joined late, but don't let that hang up hold you back. You apply, and if they reject you, you ask for feedback and reason why that is, and then take it from there, I would say. Skills today are the currency, right? That is what will buy you credibility. It is what will buy you the job. But maybe I'm being overly optimistic. So I wish you well, try it out, but don't hold back because you think, oh, they may not select, so let me not apply.
In fact, see, there were opportunities. There was a company, I'm not mentioning company and whatever, banking, they wanted banking back office people. And they just looked at people who have taken VRS from bank and they're all 40 plus, right? And because they wanted banking experience. So sometimes, so don't, be caught up saying that, will I be, and obviously the concerns, because I was part of that recruitment process for that particular company, I could, there were employees, the VRS people who came, they're saying, will I be pegged at a fresher level? Now it's what you want, right? Do you want to come, because you're coming from a banking background to probably a non-banking kind of a place, whether you'll be pegged at fresher level, whether you'll be pegged at a senior level or mid-management level, it depends on the company. So what is your expectations when you go into that job? And like, I think in the beginning, Soma also mentioned this, it's for you to say yes or no, right? You can always take a call whether you want that particular role or you don't want that particular role.
Yeah, see, nobody's keeping record of how many interviews you attended and did not join. So don't worry about that. Different companies, keep applying, keep talking, you will keep learning and getting more confident.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Yeah.
ma'am. This is Simi here. I have a question regarding restart programs. So of late, a lot of IT companies, especially services companies, are announcing restart programs on the internet, LinkedIn, and everywhere. So you apply for them, and then you get an initial communication, and then that's it. There's no news. So I really would like to know, are these restart programs really there, or is it just for the sake of hype?
They're really there.
They're really there. Yeah.
Because they reach out to us and say you've been, we are interested in your profile and everything, and then there's total silence. So all these big companies, that's what I was talking about. So just wondering if it is really there, or what is the way they operate with regards to that.
I'm sure
The IT
Soma
services
can,
Sorry,
can
IT
talk about
services
your own.
yeah, you also know that there is a lot of attrition, right? 20%, 25%, 16, 18%, whatever. So recruiters are also leaving. So the person who wrote to you may have left the company. That
No,
is one thing.
these
Or
programs are announced on the LinkedIn in a big scale on their websites as well. So that's how we, apply to
Yeah.
those.
Correct. I'm saying there are people in the background who are doing the role, right? Of sending reminders, organizing a training program, inviting people to attend the training program, categorizing resumes by technology, by skill, by level, by location, then, having the next step and the next step. So there is a lot of work which goes on in the background. For whatever reason, that work might get stalled. But I assure you, these programs are very real, and you can talk to people who are benefiting from this program. And also the companies are benefiting a lot because you get a different profile of person coming in and a different mindset.
Absolutely.
Hello, ma'am. In continuation of the same question, I just want to know, like, ma'am, these companies, whichever are telling that restart from the career break, they are training us in a different technology. But whereas the prior technology that we would have worked won't it get just waste, or just it will not be utilized according to me. So will we be able to select the technology that we only want, means, which we have worked earlier?
Totally depends on the program. If they're hiring for a particular skill set, then you should not apply for it if it is not in alignment with what you want to do.
And I think change is constant, you can't also stick to a, particular technology or particular thing that you have. So I think you should also keep updating yourself, keep learning, and, it depends on the organization, because they'll keep whatever their requirements are, based on that is what they hire. And again, Simi, to answer your question, I think the restart program in most of the organizations are quite a success. A lot of people, they keep hiring. So, just wait. I think applying, you will definitely hear from one of them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. And just want to know, like, whenever the recruiter calls, should we have to tell that about the career break right in the beginning of the process, or if we have just mentioned it in the resume, is that fine?
Depends on the conversation that you're going to have with the recruiter, right? I mean, what is the recruiter asking you for in the beginning? So if they're asking you, they've selected your resume for your skill set and whatever, you have a conversation about that. Obviously, they will come to the round, where, they'll find, okay, they'll ask you why you had a career break. You can mention it that. So it depends on how the conversation goes. It's not like in the beginning, should I say it towards the end or whatever. You'll have to take it when you're having that conversation with the recruiter.
Hello, Vidya here. I have a question. Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, Vidya, go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, actually, the thing is, see, ma'am, I completed my MTech, then I actually have 4 years of IT experience, post which I shifted to teaching, 2 years of teaching experience. And then I'm having a career break right now from the past 1.5 years. So I have 2 questions here. Do we consider teaching experience in tech role, or is it that will be considered as a career break as well? And my second question is, since I'll be shifting to tech role itself, like I'll be starting maybe with React.js. So will I be considered as a fresher there, with my salary being maybe my past teaching, or will it be my past IT salary only? These are my 2 questions. I'm sorry if I have confused you, but... No,
I'm not confused. I think... it's totally dependent on the company that you're joining. And it depends on how you're negotiating and what value they see that you're bringing. You should be clear what you are expecting and put yourself in the shoes of the hirer. Like, would you pay someone who actually has 4 years of experience at the level of 8 years of experience? Probably you won't, right? You may pay at 4 years, you may give some grace to say, no, she hasn't worked in technology, but she'll come in as a team leader or whatever. Let me give So you may pay a little bit more, but obviously you won't pay here, right? I mean, it is very logical to think about, would you pay that kind of salary? So
Okay,
just think about that, keep that in your mind. Don't go in with the thing that they might discriminate me, they might try to shortchange me. Don't go in with a fighting stance and a defensive stance, right? Could be that they'll give you a very good offer. That's why I'm saying first thing is be clear what job you want to do and how much you want to get paid for it. If you have that level in your head, no, then these questions will not bother you. Be open-minded. And anything that causes you to look bad, don't volunteer that information unless asked. I'm repeating that again.
okay.
You are there to sell yourself. You have to highlight the advantages of the product you're selling, which is yourself. All products have some side effects and disadvantages. You should be truthful about them when you're being asked. But in your resume, don't fudge data, don't miscommunicate the dates, but don't highlight in red, took a career break. Don't write fancy stories about, I don't know, focused on building my skills as a human being for 3 years. Don't say that. Very clearly say, either leave it blank, so from 2003 to 2007, and then from 2012 to 15. You're not saying anything, right? So those kinds of things are allowed. Don't misrepresent, but don't start feeling defensive and saying things immediately, unless somebody asks you.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
expect to be treated fairly.
Hi, Soma. And
Ma'am, I have one question.
I'm sorry, guys. I really have to drop off. We are over time. Maybe.
Ma'am, I am waiting for last 1 hour.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ma'am, you can drop.
Ma'am, I am also on doubt, ma'am. Already I posted so many times, but ma'am did not ask.
Yeah, ask your question quickly. I couldn't get your name.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll take 1 or 2 more questions.
Ma'am, hello. I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, who's this?
I'm Hariharan, ma'am.
Yes, Hariharan, go ahead.
Ma'am, what are the main things HR does to assist the department I would be working for, ma'am?
I didn't get your question. HR, what did you say?
What are the main things HR does to assist the department I would be working for, ma'am? For a software developer fresher, ma'am.
HR assists the department for the software development. So HR, see, what is HR's role? HR's role is typically in terms of, one could be in terms of recruitment, in terms of your learning and development. It could be in terms of your payroll. It could be various things, in which, or if you're already a person in an organization and you want an internal job posting from one, department to the other department, they would assist you in that. So HR plays a various, depends on what is what help that you want, support that you want from HR.
Ma'am, one question.
Thank you, ma'am.
After getting the job, excuse me, ma'am, after getting the job, I mean, it's like the interviewer asking us to relocate, but how to convince him that we are okay with to do hybrid model? They're asking us to.
So Kundana, I mean, I think it is completely the organization's choice, right? If the organization doesn't have a hybrid model, you cannot negotiate with the organization. If the organization wants you at the location of posting, wherever it is, you'll have to go there and work. So that conversation, when you're having the interview with the organization, you will have to tell them that, I cannot move from this city to this city. So do you have a hybrid model open and I can work from this particular city? But if the organization says no, you will have to come to that particular city to work, then you will have to go to that city to work. Because once they tell you to go to a location of posting, you can't go ahead and convince them that I'm going to sit here and, your organization is say, if it's in Delhi, I can't come over there. So that conversation has to happen before you close the interview, and they will very clearly ask you that, and that will be mentioned even in your appointment letter most of the time.
Yeah. And then how to convince them that is it okay?
You can't convince them. That's what I'm saying. So you'll have to have that conversation with them. You can ask them that whether they have a hybrid model. If they have a hybrid model, then you can tell them that, see, I'm here, I have this particular constraints that I have. And that is the reason that, I am not moving out from this particular place. But otherwise, you'll have to follow whatever they tell you. So you'll have to have that conversation before.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
So I would let Neeraja to go ahead next. After post this, we will close the session. Neeraja.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Suganya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Reena, ma'am.
Yes, hi, Nirja.
This is Nirja. Actually, I am a disabled candidate. I have voice disorder issue. So I have 60 years of experience in accounts payable. So is there any kind of help from corporate to recruit disabled candidates?
Absolutely, Nirja. I think there are a lot of most of the big organizations do hire people with disabilities. I will tell you about myself. When I was working in my previous role, I used to head diversity and inclusion with Infosys, and we do have hiring people with disabilities. And today, most of the organizations do. Because inclusion is a part of hiring in many organizations. So you can apply, you will definitely get. It doesn't matter whether you have a speech impairment, that doesn't matter, because a lot of work happens on data. You don't need to speak to the clients and whatever it is. So people, even with hearing impaired or visually impaired people also, opportunities are available. So I wish you all the best. I'm sure if you can apply, go ahead. A lot of these organizations do recruit people with disabilities.
I completely agree with you, but the problem is with my experience. I have 16 years experience.
Okay.
There are vacancies available for less than like 5 to 6 years like that. If I have, they are not actually they are not looking into my profile because of my user experience. See,
no, I think I think if I'm hearing it correctly, I think you're saying that you have a gap in your experience. Is that what you're trying to tell?
No. She's saying she has 16 years of experience.
Okay.
So she's like overqualified, and with the experience, she's not getting the relevant job. She's saying.
Okay. So again, I think it depends on the skill sets. It's nothing to do with disability. So don't worry. It is not because you're a person with disability that people are not offering you that particular job. Because like I said, most of the tech companies are willing to hire you as long as you meet their requirements. If you have that particular skill sets, even if you have the relevant experience, you will definitely get that role that you're looking for.
Okay.
Okay, so you go ahead and apply to most of the big tech companies. They will, if you have the right experience and the role that you're looking for, they definitely will hire you.
Not tech. I was little alright.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, non-IT.
She was in non-IT. Accounts payable.
Operations side.
Operations.
So again, like I said, accounts payable, whether you're in accounts payable, accounts receivable, basically you're talking about the BFS side, the non-IT sector. There also they do have opportunities. Please go ahead and apply. You will definitely, I'm sure, if you have the right skill sets, they will definitely hire you. And I'm telling you this with 100% positivity, because I have seen, I personally, when I was in my previous role, have hired people with disabilities with 5 years, 10 years, 15 years experience. So they will do it if you have the right skill set. They will not discriminate. There will be no discrimination because you're a person with disability. That's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. In interest of time, we would like to close the session. Thank you, Reena Ravi and Soma Pandey, for sharing such wonderful insights. I'm sure all of them feel much more confident today with all the questions answered, especially the return to work community members. And for everyone's benefit, Reena and Soma are also our mentors in AFH. So in case you wish to get mentored by them, please visit our website and place your request. So we at AFH wish you all the very best. And thank you, and have a very good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful session.
Thank you. All the very best to each one of you, and hope you get placed soon wherever you want.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We wish the same.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Reena.
Thank you, ma'am.